Good day. My name is Marley B. Sakrok, BS Criminology student, section number 22M31. Subject is CPCLJ1, and I am here to recite the circumstances affecting the criminal liability. Under the RPC, there are five circumstances affecting the criminal liability of an individual. They are justifying, Article 11, exempting, Article 12, mitigating, Article 13, aggravating, Article 14, and alternative circumstances, Article 15. First is the justifying circumstances. A person who acts under any justifying circumstances enumerated under the RPC does not commit a crime under the law. The following are justifying circumstances: self-defense, defense of relatives, defense of stranger, avoidance of greater evil or injury, fulfillment of duty or lawful exercise of right or office, obedience to an order issued for some lawful purpose. First is the requisites of self-defense: unlawful aggression, reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or repel it, lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. Next is requisites of defense of relatives: unlawful aggression, reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent it, and the person defending acts in defense of the person or rights of his spouse, descendants, legitimate, natural, or adopted brother or sister, relatives by affinity in the same, except the spouse, degrees above like son-in-law, brother-in-law, etc., or relatives by consanguinity within the fourth civil degree, in case the provocation was given by the person attacked, that the one making the defense had no fault therein. Next is requisites of defense of stranger: unlawful aggression, reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or repel it, and that the person defending be not induced by revenge, resentment, or other evil motives. Next requisite is requisite of avoidance of greater evil or injury. The evils sought to be avoided actually exist. The injury feared be greater than that done to avoid it, and there be no other practical and less harmful means of preventing it. Next requisite is requisites of fulfillment of duty or lawful exercise of right or office. The offender acts in the proper fulfillment of duty or in the lawful exercise of right or office, and the injury inflicted be necessary in the proper performance of duty or in the lawful exercise of right or office. Next is rec- requisite requisite of obedience to an order issued for some purpose. The person acts in obedience to an order. The order was issued by a superior officer. The order is for some lawful purpose, and the injury or damage sustained or inflicted is the necessary consequence of an act in obedience to the lawful order. Next circumstances is excepting circumstances. Article 12. It enumerates persons who are exempted from criminal liability. Unlike in justifying circumstances, here there was a crime committed. There is a criminal, but for reasons of public policy, no penal liability shall be inflicted on him. The following are exempting circumstances: imbecility or insanity, unless acting during a lucid interval: minor under 9 years of age, minor over 9 and under 15 years, accident, irresistible force, uncontrollable fear, prevented by insuperable cause. An imbecile is a person marked by mental deficiency, while an insane is one who has an unsound mind or suffers from a mental disorder. A child below 9 years old is absolutely free from criminal liability, but the parent or guardian of said child may be held civilly liable. Next is requisite of accident. The accused must act with due care performance. A lawful act, mere accident caused the injury sustained, and absence of fault or intent to cause the injury. Next, requisite of irresistible force. The accused is being compelled for act under a force. The force must be irresistible. That is, despite all resistance, the accused is reduced to a mere instrument, and the force must be an external force. The fear must be uncontrollable, that is real, imminent or reasonable fear for one's life or limb. Duress, as a valid defense, should be based on real imminent or reasonable fear for one's own life. It should not be inspired by speculative, fanciful, or remote fear. A threat of a future injury is not enough. Requisite of prevented by insuperable cause. An act required by law to be done. A person fails to perform such act, and his failure to perform such act was due to some lawful insuperable cause. Next circumstances is mitigating circumstances. Mitigating circumstances are those which do not entirely free the actor from penal responsibility but serve only to lessen or reduce the impossible penalty. There are two classes of mitigating circumstances. First is the ordinary mitigating, which can be offset by aggravating circumstances, in which it presents to reduce the penalty by periods. And the second one is the privilege mitigation, which cannot be offset by any aggravating circumstances, in which if present tense to reduce the penalty degrees. The following are mitigating circumstances: incomplete justifying or exempting circumstances, under 18 or over 70 years old, no intention to commit so grave a wrong, provocation or threat, vindication of grave offense, passion or obfuscation, surrender and confession of guilt, physical defects, illness of the offender, similar and analogous circumstances. Then the next one is circumstances is aggravating circumstances. These circumstances, if present in the commission of the crime, serve to increase the penalty imposable, without however exceeding the maximum period prescribed for the offense. Kinds of aggravating circumstances. The different kinds of aggravating circumstances are specific, generic, inherent, and qualifying. The aggravating circumstances under Article 14 are as follows: advantage taken of public position, contempt or insult to public authorities, disregard of rank, age, or sex, or dwelling of offended party, abuse of confidence and obvious ungratefulness, palace and place of commission of offense, nighttime uninhabited place or band, on occasion of calamity or misfortune, aid of armed men, etc. Recidivism, reiteration or habituality, price, reward, or promise, by means of inundation, fire, etc. Evident premeditation, craft, fraud, or disguise. Superior strength or means to weaken the defense. Treachery, adversaya, ignominy, unlawful entry, breaking wall, aid of minor or by means of motor vehicle, and cruelty. And the last circumstances is the alternative circumstances. They are those circumstances which must be taken into consideration as aggravating circumstances or mitigating circumstances to the nature and effects of the crime and the other conditions attending the commission. The RPC or the Revised Penal Code enumerates them as first, relationship of the offender and the offended party. The second one is intoxication. And the last is the degree of instruction and education of the offender. That is the five circumstances that affecting the criminal liability. Thank you.